Welcome, this is Carrie Schell from Applique Quilter. Last week I shared how to draft string-pieced applique blocks. This week I'm going to design a quilt using those blocks. To save some time in the recording of the video, I decided to pre-color some additional copies of the block. Make sure you are in the string-pieced applique project, and if you view the project sketchbook and go to the Blocks tab and go to Motifs, you should see the blocks that you designed. And I did add some additional colorings, and I have the blocks in 3 sizes, 6, 8, and 12. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, and on the home screen, select Design a Quilt from Scratch. Select a new quilt, horizontal. On the Layout tab, change the number of blocks to 1 by 1 and change the size to 30 by 30. Select the Design tab and select Fabric Tools and color the center. And then select Layer 2, and under Block Tools, Set Block, select the Motifs tab. Right-click on the first block with the ring and select Coloring. When you have a large number of colorings, this allows you to see all of them at a glance. The first option is always the uncolored option, and that's considered coloring 0. You can select the color block you like and then drag it on Layer 2. Select it with the Adjust tool and note the width and height under Adjust Block. That's the size the block was designed at, which is 8 by 8. Select Set Block, and now when you're on the block, notice there is a color selector tool at the bottom. You can click through the options and identify a different color and drag it on the quilt. If there are any blocks you don't want, select with the Adjust tool and use the Delete key on your keyboard. I decided I wanted 5 8-inch blocks. Select Set Block and now locate the second block with the ring and drag it on the quilt. Select it with the Adjust tool and note the size of 6 inches. Then under Set Block, I'm going to right-click, do a Select Coloring, and select a different coloring of the block and drag that on the quilt as well. Then under Set Block, locate the third version of the block, drag it on the quilt, and if you select it with the Adjust tool, note the size of 12 inches. Now I want to rearrange all of the blocks to create a pleasing placement on the quilt. Before doing that, under the quilt grid setup, make sure Snap Block Position to Grid is turned off. That's going to allow us the greatest degree of flexibility in placement. Under Adjust, we can select any of the blocks and drag it into position. Since I do not want all of the blocks perfectly vertical, I can, with the Adjust tool and the Control or Command key on your keyboard, select the center of the block. Notice that now if you hover over the corner, you get a spin option. You can drag that corner to spin the block for a different rotation. I will repeat that process using Control or Command and selecting the center and dragging corners for the remainder of the blocks. I've decided I'm not really in love with my background, so select Fabric Tools and you can experiment with different colors. You can also select Open Library and go to the EQ Fabric Libraries and select some different fabrics and add to Sketchbook. Then I'm going to go to Fabrics and addition the new fabrics in the quilt as well. Let's work on the borders. Select the Border tab and change the size to to 4 inches. Select the style blocks and scroll down and change the number of blocks in border to 5 horizontal and 5 vertical. Select the Design tab and color one of the blocks. If you go to Print and Export, note the size of the block is 6 by 4. That's what we're going to draft. So on the block work table, select a new block, Pieced Easy Draw. Change the width to 6, the height to 4, and I want to snap horizontally every 1/4 inch. So I'm going to multiply 6 times 4 and change that to 24. The snap vertical doesn't really matter, so I'm going to make that the lowest number possible, which is 4. Make sure Snap to Grid is turned on. Select the line tool and draw random vertical lines. Remember that you are designing at a finished size, so a 1 inch distance means you will need 1.5 inch strips, whereas a 1/2 inch distance will mean you need a 1 inch strip. Select the Color tab, color the block, and add to Project Sketchbook. Select the Draw tab, select a new block, Pieced Easy Draw block, and with the Line tool, draw a second block with the vertical lines at different places to create a variation of the first block. Select the Color tab, color the block, and add to Project Sketchbook. Then do a new block, Pieced Easy Draw, and let's set the block width and height to 4 by 4. This is going to be for the corners, and set the snaps to 16 by 4. Select the Line tool and draw some random vertical lines. Select the Color tab, color the block, and add to Project Sketchbook. Select the Quilt work table, select the Design tab, and under Block Tools, Set Blocks, go to the Blocks tab and scroll to the end. Select the first drawn block and click on Alternating Blocks in each of the 4 sides of the border. Select the second block and click on the remaining blocks on all 4 sides. Select the corner block and click on the 4 corners. Select Rotate, and using the Alt or Options key on your keyboard, click on one of the blocks on the right side 1 time. With the Alt or Options key, click on one of the blocks in the bottom 2 times and on the left 3 times. You can also rotate the corner blocks as desired. I decided to include a flange border before the binding. In EQ, I will create the illusion, so the yardage won't be exactly right. Select the Border tab. Select Add, and under Size, change to 1/4 inch. For the binding, do another Add and change the style to mitered and change the size to 1/2 inch. Select the Design tab and color the added borders. And then hide Show Quilt patch lines and add to Project Sketchbook. Thanks so much for watching. If you are just starting to explore electric quilt, check out my intro class, Shoot for the Stars with EQ8. Or if you're ready for a deeper dive, check out the TechnoQuilter membership.